First, with the low hum of anticipation, Vivian, the COO, sat at the head of the polished mahogany table, her posture impeccable, her expression a marks of professionalism. The board members' eyes flickered to the door every time it opened, awaiting for their new CEO. The president, a dignified man in his 60s, entered the cabin, commanding silence with a raised hand. He then said gravely, "As you all know, we have been in the process of selecting a new leader. Today, I am proud to introduce you to the person who will steer our company into the future." The door swings open and Taehyung steps in. His aura is icy, his gaze sharp enough to cut through the thick tension in the room. Wine's breath hitched, her composure wavering for a split second before she regains control. Taehyung then said coldly without looking at Wine, "Thank you, Mr. President. I look forward to working with everyone to achieving our goals." The man in his late 20s voice was a dark melody, one that Wine knows all too well. After all, the said 27 years old woman was Taehyung's ex-girlfriend. The board members applauded, but Wine remained still, her hands clenched under the table. "Wine, as our COO, you will be working closely with Taehyung. I trust you will extend your full cooperation. Of course, it's always what's best for the company." Taehyung finally turned to her, his eyes a storm sea of emotions, none of which was warm. "It's good to see you haven't lost your dedications, Vian." The sarcasm didn't go unnoticed by Vian, even though the other people present there thought it would be a normal compliment. Vian just smiled at his remark, even though inside her it was a raging storm. The rest of the meeting dissolved into a blur for Vian, Taehyung's presence a constant cold pressure at the back of her mind. Some days later. The office is a hive of activity, the air charged with tension. Vine sat at her desk, surrounded by piles of paperwork, her eyes wavery from the long hours. Taehyung strides through the office, his gaze fixed on her. "Vine, I need the report on my desk in an hour." "An hour? But Taehyung, the report takes at least..." "Did I ask for excuses?" "1 hour, Vine, not a minute more." Vine nodded, biting back a retort. She turned back to her computer, her fingers flying over the keyboard, but her mind is elsewhere. On the harshness in Taehyung's voice, the coldness in his eyes. Later, Vine stands by the printer, collecting the documents. Taehyung appears beside her, his expression unreadable. "This better be perfect, Vine. I won't accept anything less. It's as thorough as it can be with the time given." "Time given? You used to provide yourself on efficiency. What happened to that Vine?" "That Vine wasn't being micromanaged." "Maybe she should have been. It might have prevented certain mistakes." Vine's hand trembled slightly as she hands him the report. His words sting, a reminder of their shared past and the chasm between them now. "We will see if you are still capable of meeting the standards I expect." He turned on his heels and walked away, leaving Vine to watch his retreating back, a mix of anger and sadness welling up inside her. Another day. Vine sat alone at the table, her lunch untouched. The door swings open and Taehyung entered, his eyes scanning the room until they land on her. "Vine, why is the financial podcast not in my inbox yet?" "I'm on my break, Taehyung. It will be done when I..." "Breaks are a luxury we can't afford right now. I need that forecast." Vine stood, her patience fraying. "You can't just barge in here, and I can, and I will. This company needs discipline and something you have clearly forgotten." He leaps as abruptly as he entered, and Vine was left standing there, her hands clenched into fist, the heart in her heart battling with the need to stand her ground. Almost a week later, the office was a symphony of ringing phones and clicking keyboards. Vine sat at her desk, her hands pressed to her forehead, her face pale. Taehyung approached her, a stack of files in his hand. Vine, these files should have been sorted by now. What's the delay? He asked her, being annoyed. I am sorry, I just need a moment. I'm not feeling, she replied while trying to focus on his words. Not feeling what? Up to the task? If you can't handle the workload, maybe you shouldn't be here. Vine swallowed hard, trying to steady her spinning head. She stood up, papers in her hand, but a wave of dizziness washed over her. I can't handle it. I just. Suddenly she stumbled, the files scattering across the floor. Taehyung's expression shifted from irritation to concern. Vine, are you alright? I'm fine, just a little dizzy, that's all. Dizzy, have you eaten anything today? Vine avoids his gaze, her pride wounded. I don't need you to worry about me. I am not, but you are pale. This isn't like you. Sit down before you fall down. Vine looked at him, the harsh boss replaced by a flicker of the old Taehyung, the one who cared. It's nothing, Taehyung, just a long week. I will expect those files by the end of the day, but take your time, he said, turning back to his business mode. Then he walked away, leaving Vine to wonder at the complexity of the man she once knew so well. Couple of days later, the room is dimly lit, the only light coming from the desk lamp. Taehyung sat alone, his hands clasped together, lost in thoughts. The doors opened quietly, and Jen, Taehyung's trusted best friend and colleague, enters holding a small piece of paper. Taehyung, you need to see this. Taehyung looked up, irritation flashing across his face as the interruption, but the look on Jen's face stopped him not. This better be important, Jen. Jen handed him the paper, and Taehyung's eyes scanned the contents quickly. It's a medical report. One line stands out starkly. Pregnancy confirmed. What is this? It's Vian's. She left it behind in the hospital. My wife, she goes to same gynecologist, I guess. She recognized Vian's face, but Vian didn't see her, I believe. I thought you should know. Taehyung's face hardened as the implications sank in. His child, Vian was carrying his child. There's no doubt in it. His love couldn't be a cheater. But she hadn't told him about this. She was pregnant with my child and she didn't tell me. She probably had her reasons. What reasons would probably justify this, Jen? She left me and now this. She stood up abruptly, his chairs clattering on the floor. He began to pace, his rage palpable. 3 months. She's been gone for 4 months. How could she keep this away from me? I am going to confront her. Jin, I need to make this right. Jin nodded, understanding the turmoil his friend was going through. After all, he too was the expected father. But keep your calm, Taehyung. Don't say anything in rage that you will regret later. I'm sure everything will turn out good. Taehyung looked at him, gratitude mixed with the storm of emotions in his eyes. Thank you, Jin. I don't know what I would do without you. Sitting inside his luxury car, Taehyung dropped the steering wheel, his knuckles white. The newfound information of him soon becoming a father was searching different emotions within him. Some conversation of his and Wine came running into his mind. Taehyung sat on the couch, Wine's head resting on his shoulder. They are wrapped in a cozy blanket, watching raindrops slide down the window pane. I want a future with you. Marriage, kids, the whole package. Wine lifted her head, studying his face. Her eyes hold a mix of surprise and warmth. You want kids with me? Of course, silly. I want to see little versions of us running around, causing chaos. I want to teach them how to play the piano just like my mom taught me. And I want to watch them grow up, wagon with you by my side. That sounds beautiful. Why did you not tell me? We are expecting wagon. Taehyung parks his car outside a modest apartment building. He takes a deep breath, steeling himself for what lies ahead. Taehyung's feet took him in front of Wayan's apartment. Along with rage, his throat felt dry as a memory of them came running back to him again. Taehyung and Wayan were cooking together, flour dusting their clothes. Laughter filled the air as they created a mess. Our future kids will be lucky. They will have the best homemade cookies. At the most chaotic kitchen. Grinning, she told him, and he too burst into laughter. The night was still, the only sound was the distant hum of the city. Taehyung stood before Wayan's door, his heart pounding in his chest. He raised his hand and knocked, the sound echoing in the quiet hallway. The door swings open and Wayan stands there, her eyes wide with shock. She is paler than he remembered, her hair framing her face in a soft waves. Taehyung, what are you doing here? Without waiting for an invitation, Taehyung strode past her into the apartment, his anger palpable force. Hey, why are you coming? She couldn't finish her sentence as she met with an furious Taehyung who showed her the pregnancy reports. Wayan's eyes widened, seeing those in Taehyung's hands. How? Where did you get this from? Jin's wife found this when you left this behind in hospital. Apparently, you both shared the same gynecologist. Wayan cursed under her breath, hearing his words while closing her eyes. How could you not tell me, Wayan? How could you keep this away from me? Wayan closed the door slowly, her back to him as she gathered her composure. I had my reasons. What reasons could possibly justify lying to me about our child? What reasons could justify keeping away a father to his own child? Wine turned to face him, her eyes brimming with unshed tears. I wasn't lying, I was just protecting. Protecting what? My own child from me. You thought I was some kind of jerk who would deny after creating a child with his woman, huh? Didn't you? Her eyes became glossy hearing his words. No, this was not the first thought I had after knowing we are expecting. My first thought was that you would be happy knowing. Then Then why the hell you didn't tell me about our baby? Damn it, why the hell did you break up with me? He raised his voice, making her flinch slightly. Because your mother threatened me, Taehyung. Your mother said she will prove our baby is not yours, that I have cheated on you unless I leave from your life. Breathing heavily, she said all this while Taehyung's eyes widened. For a moment, he didn't understand what to say anymore. My mother. A whisper-like voice left his mouth, to which she nodded her head. Yes, your mother, Taehyung. I know you were finding my words a lie. I won't blame you. She's your mother after all. She gave birth to you. But I am not lying either, Taehyung. I don't know how she came to know that we are expecting even before I could tell you. But she did come here, and those words to be, she said. She doesn't want a lowlife who came from less financially stable family to marry her son and ruin his lineage, right? Her eyes widened hearing him, whereas he looked at her blankly. How do you know? She's my mom, Vayan. I have lived with her for a vast majority of my life. Of course I would know what she thinks about people who are not as rich as ours. But I never imagined she would threaten you. Yes, I thought she would be angry at me, at you, because I have chosen you as my life partner. But I have never imagined she would say such words to you, especially after knowing you were carrying our baby. And why didn't you say anything to me? Because I got scared. She will actually prove that I have cheated on you, that I have slept with another man, that our baby isn't. Tears left her eyes as she said those words. With her trembling lips, his cold demeanor broke and he rushed towards her, hugged her tightly. She is so much rich and powerful, Taehyung, and I am not rich, so there's no power in my hands. I couldn't prove my innocence if she proved otherwise. She buried her face in his chest while tears ran through her eyes. What were you going to tell our baby in future? As in, where is their dad? If I haven't come today? Told that mom and dad are divorced. We had differences we couldn't overcome because of me. But your dad loves you more than me. Being a child of a divorced mother is far better than being called a child of a characterless, cheated mother. His eyes became glossy hearing her words. He hugged her more tightly. You won't have to do anything like this, nor do you have to fear anything. I am here now, and I am too my mother's son. If she has power, I too have them. No one would tarnish your image nor our baby. They stood there like that for a while, only sniffling and breathing sounds of them could be heard until she spoke. I'm sorry, Taehyung, I never wanted to snatch your right as a father to me, but the situation. He pulled away from her and cupped her face. He gently wiped her eyes and said softly, I've forgiven you, Vayan. I understand what feelings you went through, so I forgive you. And if we are talking about apologies, then please forgive me too. I was too harsh on you during last few weeks in office. I was so angry with you for breaking up with me suddenly. Please forgive me for my immature behavior. Just like you understood my feelings, my situation, I too understood your situation and feelings, Taehyung. So don't worry, I forgive you too. We should give a huge treat to Jen and his wife, right? After all, because of them only, the truth came out. Indeed, they became our guardian angel. Next day. Mr. Kim, a quieter presence, stands by the window, his gaze fixed on the busy streets below. Taehyung, my dear, how lovely to see you. You have been scarce lately. I have been busy. Unlike some people, I don't meddle in others' lives. Ah, so the fire is already been fueled, I see. She looked at Wagon in pure disgust. Nah, you are wrong. The fire just found the right amount of dry leaves and instead of ignoring them, he just cropped every bit of it. Taehyung, you are the heir to the Corporation. I can't just what? Live my life? Love who I want? You have controlled me long enough, Mom. This woman, she's not suitable for you. She is the love of my life, my desired partner, the mother of my child. She's more suitable than anyone you would ever pick for me. And you know why, Mom? Because Vian's and my thoughts match. Our relationship doesn't just depend on our physical attraction towards each other. We can support each other, spend time with each other, talk hours with each other. Mrs. Kim scoffed hearing his words. Your words nothing but crap. A relationship between two different financial background people does not sustain long term. Oh, really, Mom? How come my ideologies are totally different from yours? According to me, relationship between two people who came from different mindset, different intelligence, different ideologies doesn't sustain in long time. Look at you and Dad for example. You were living together, yet I doubt you both had talked to each other openly, shared each other's opinions, emotions from ages. Aren't you both came from the similar rich background? A gasp left Vine's mouth hearing him, whereas Mrs. Kim fumed. Taehyung, we are crossing limits. We shouldn't cross. We don't need to. No, Vian, we do. She needs to know. Mom, if you ever try to hurt her or separate me from my child again, I will forgive you. Forget that you gave birth to me. I will erase every memory of yours. Dad, I hope you find your own happiness someday. I hope the same for you, Thea. Few months later, the room was bathed in warm hues as the sun dipped below the horizon. Vivian, her belly round and live-fed, sat on the couch, cradling her swollen abdomen. The young, now softer around the edges, knelt before her, his eyes gentle. Can you believe it, Taehyung? Our little one is almost here. I have dreamed of this, Vian, of us together creating life. It's more beautiful than I ever imagined. He leaned in, pressing a kiss to her belly. Feeling the gentle kicks beneath his lips, Vian's fingers threaded through his hair, and for a moment the world outside ceased to exist. I'm sorry, Taehyung, for leaving you, for the pain I caused. He looked at her teary eyes and gently held her hands. Love, we have both made mistakes, but look at us, now stronger, wiser. Our love survived the storm. Your mother, she won't accept our child as her grandkid. She doesn't have to. This child is our child. Why? No one else's opinion matters, not even my mother's. He got up, pulling her up with him. Their lips met, a slow, tender kiss that speaks of forgiveness and longing. The young's hands cradled her face, and Vi's heart swelled. I have never thought I would feel this again. The safety of your arms, the promise of forever. Forever and always, Ryan, our child will know love, no fear. He kissed her forehead, whereas she closed her eyes, feeling his touch. They swayed gently, lost in each other. The room filled with the soft rhythm of their breaths, the promise of a future they will build together. I love you, Taehyung, always. And I love you, Ryan. Our story isn't over, it's just a beginning. As the sun sank lower, casting a golden glow on their intertwined forms, Taehyung held Ryan close. The baby kicked, a reminder of their shared journey, the scars, the healing, the unbreakable bond they have forged.